ਸੰਤਾਂ ਦੇ ਹੱਥਾਂ ਵਿੱਚ ਫੜਿਆ ਤੀਰ ਦੇ ਵਰਗਾ ਨੀ ਧੱਕੇ ਨਾਲ ਜਿਹਨੂੰ ਦੱਬ ਲਓਗੇ ਕਸ਼ਮੀਰ ਦੇ ਵਰਗਾ ਨੀ ਔਕੜ ਕਰ ਸੰਭਾਲਿਆ ਮਰਦਾਂ ਦਾ ਜਨਾਬ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਆ ਕਹਿ ਕਹਿ ਕੇ ਬਦਲੇ ਲੈਂਦਾ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਪੰਜਾਬ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਆ ਹੋ ਦਿੱਲੀ ਵੀ ਨੱਪ ਲੈਂਦਾ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਪੰਜਾਬ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਆ
Yo, what's going on, boys? Welcome back for our second attempt at this. That we won't. First, we had some we had some technical issues, so we had to redo this one. But it's all good. More time to hang out, right? So we got Vinny as usual. We got Dr. Arjun Ghuman.
Hello.
And then we've got Harinder Sonny Sekhon, man, back again.
What's going on, guys?
That's
I had no idea that your name was Harinder.
Well, most people don't.
It's crazy. Blows your mind, doesn't it? Thought his name was thought it was like Sonzy, just Sonzy.
Yeah. Sonny's actually not even on any government ID, so it's like total 34 years of lies.
You think Joe's on any ID?
No.
When did you tell Kayla?
Yeah.
When did I tell her?
Yeah.
Oh, like early on, because like the name story is kind of like random and funny. Like my mom named me after the guy that played Nash Bridges, or like you remember that show? So he was the character's name was Sonny. So we talked about that like early on as like a random story. So didn't phase her.
Oh, not bad.
But it's actually Harinder.
But yeah.
He does all look like Harinder.
That's awesome.
Yeah. All right. Well, I guess Sonny. We wanted to actually we obviously like hanging out in the pod and having fun, but specifically right now, you're helping to organize a digital online rally for the farmer protest happening in India right now, in collaboration with AZone Hockey, which is a new hockey camp that's starting this summer with Arjun, Jyoti, and I'm not sure who else is involved, but so just start off by telling us about that. Like what is that event? When is it happening? And like what's been like the process, I guess, like where are you at right now and how, just start.
Yeah. So the actually, like, you guys are already wearing them. So the shirts, we kind of made these shirts, and it was kind of in response to the December 6th rally here, and maybe we can talk about that too. But where we're at is, like, for the last few days, obviously the shirts have been distributed, and there's about 100 of them out there. So part of it, we were trying to raise some funds for the farmers through Khalsa Aid. And I think any funds raised are great, and it helps the cause. But you guys know that the farmers they've come out and said that they're good. Like they can be there for as long as they need to be. They have food, they've got shelter. Obviously, they're being modest, and they've got warrior mentality, warrior blood, and money and infrastructure is important. But if we raise $3,000, really it's nothing. Like if we raised 30,000, 300,000. 3 million. Like the problem with raising money is when you're going against a protest against a state-backed problem. Like these guys control currency, they can make money. Like the state itself can, make your money irrelevant. And then when you actually look at the two billionaires behind it, like Ambani fell from 10th richest in the world to 11th, largely because of protests. And like, so between those two guys, you've got a cool $120 billion backing this. So again, unless we were able to sell these shirts for $130 billion, the money does nothing, right? Yeah. So I don't know, like you can compare the shirts are like the matchstick, right? Like, so we get these out because we're trying to unify. We're trying to organize. There's a lot of people right now feeling a lot of, anger, confusion. They want to make a difference, and like we're all kind of saying things and saying the same things. And what I was thinking is, like, in the early days of the protests, I noticed, like, not that I really care at data analytics, but I was noticing that like the stories are being watched originally, like 1,000 people watched it. Then the next day, 500, 400. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, why is this happening? And, you know, it's just, I think as a human being, if the four of us on here who are all smart, educated people, share the same infographic, the same post, and it shows up everywhere, it kind of, you know, it becomes easy to skip through it. So the concept of an online rally to me, and specifically my vision, what my goal for this was, like, to make it personal and like to make everyone have uncomfortable conversations. Like, you know, I gave Joe credit because he's a pretty quiet, private guy up until the podcast, and he made a video, like, and you know, it is uncomfortable to sit there and stare at this thing and in 30 seconds try and say why this matters to you. But I think by doing that, by putting your face behind it, it becomes hard just as a human being to skip past that. Like, I can skip past a slide, but like if I scroll there and I see Vinny talking to the thing, I'm just as a friend, as someone that knows him, like with a direct connection, I'm going to stop and see what this is about, right? So when you think about the potential to like connect internationally, however big it is or however small it is, if we can just, you know, if even 10% of the people that look at our stuff will see these posts and then engage with what's happening over there and look over there, that's, to me, the only way you impact change on this type of level. Again, short of stumbling into $130 billion, it has to be a mass awakening. It has to be people looking at what's actually happening here. And we will, I'm sure, talk about like the many different layers of this, because there really are. And so I don't want to cheapen it by saying this is about only farming, but right now, like this impacts the livelihood of a huge sector in India unfairly. So on Wednesday, December 30th, 10 a.m. Mountain Standard Time, we're challenging everyone. And make no mistake, it is a challenge. Like, I know people will post the same stuff, and that is what it is. But like, for me, like, I'll measure how impactful it is by how many different people will actually take the time to make a video, take the time to take a photo wearing the shirt, or, you know, I don't care if like during Black Lives Matters, you saw the people just holding a piece of paper with the hashtag. Do that. Like,
so basically,
you know,
say anything you want.
Yeah, like again, why it matters to you, and then, you know, if this thing catches fire, like, you know, that's, and people are tagging the same hashtags, and people are tagging news outlets, people are tagging people to use their platforms. That's, in my opinion, that's how you can impact change. And like, normally I would say, like, and we've touched on this in conversations before, like, normally I would be all for like having an actual rally, get everyone together, like. But my challenge this time around was, again, stemming from that December 6th protest. Like, you guys saw the article. CTV has a reporter named Sean Amato, and he cheapened everything, right? Like, you had all these people flying in the face of COVID, and yes, there was one or two that were probably, you know, out of control, not following safety protocols, and maybe not following the laws. But that's the same shit that happens every time. There's always one or two that are, you know, going too far, but that's what they're focusing on. They're cheapening the actual issue here. So this guy writes the article, and I had the article written down. It's Indian farming protest causes big delays on hen day. So this is the first time like mainstream media in Edmonton is going to speak up about this. And like, really, like, and I remember seeing emails to this guy being like, you had this opportunity to be a leader. You had this opportunity to do your job, which is like educate yourself as to why this is happening. But instead, what happened is he writes this article, and we live in Alberta. We've all experienced it, even me, racism. And like, people that don't think it happens here, it does. It's rampant. And social media also gives these guys a platform to now jump on this, being like, yeah, I was delayed 10 minutes on the hen day. You know what? Every day you're delayed on the hen day because it's built so terribly. Yeah. Like, and again, like, you just opened up, you made the whole movement, the whole spirit of the movement vulnerable to this, again, being cheapened by these people that don't know anything. Yeah. So to me, why an online protest is so important is because, to the best of our abilities, we have the ability, we can control the narrative. You know, they can't now sit there and be like, look at these guys, they're not following COVID rules. Look at these guys, they're not following. Yeah, they can say like, once they've listened to us, they can make their opinion, form their opinion, whatever they want. That's your right. But at least we're mitigating the potential for them to be like, these jackasses are so selfish, it's all about them. Like, we're doing this in a safe, organized way, right? Like, it's hard to compare it to BLM, but like, it's like Black Lives Matter. When they did that Wednesday, the whole blackout, like, I was like, wow, that was like very powerful. Like, so I guess that's a long-winded way to say, like, why we need everyone Wednesday, December 30th.
I think that's a great idea. Like, I've been posting every day. I've been posting, sharing stories on my Instagram, just information about the protests. And I haven't had one person outside of my Indian community friends or Punjabi friends. No one has asked me, what is this about? Zero. So hopefully when they see my face on my story, they'll maybe ask some questions. What is this about, right?
Yeah. I mean, no, it's a good thing. That's great that you guys, and you're doing it with AZ1. So I guess just kind of recap. So that was a lot. It was a lot, Sonny. It was a lot to process. But you're doing this. What is this officially called?
YEG Digital Kisaan Rally or YEG Virtual Kisaan Rally are the two actual hashtags. But you got to go on AZ1, like, and we have those two hashtags in Edmonton. Obviously, that's what we'd like to see. The hashtagging is like what makes it, a global event. It's like anyone that posts this, whether it's here, Abbotsford, whatever, they're all kind of lumped together. And then at 10 a.m., right? Like we want you to tag CTV News, tag like the local news, tag celebrities, call people out. Like literally, like this is an issue that's so important. It's okay to make people, uncomfortable and at least look at it, right? Like, again, we're not doing anything like crazy. We're just asking you to look. And then once you've looked, read it, if you're of the opinion that this is something that's important and you're inspired to share, perfect. That's what we're trying to do. If you read it and you think this is not an issue for you, that's also your right? Like, again, it's just, we're trying to amplify the message by leveraging the power of social media and all of our followers, because whether you have 100 followers, you have 100,000 followers, you have a platform, right? So if you can impact change with one person, is it not worthwhile? Maybe.
That's a fucking great way of looking at it, right? Like the way you look at it, just you got to do something, and it's going to have an impact at some point. Some people might say, well, who gives a shit? But there's going to be people that latch on or start to learn from this. So you guys are basically what you want people to do at that time is make like a short video or clip or anything really, and then just use those hashtags, and it's just supposed to go out all at the same time, right?
Exactly. Like we've had people asking, is there a Zoom? Is there this? And we thought about like a Zoom, but at the end of the day, it'd be the same people joining into the Zoom. So yes, make the post like as close to 10 a.m. as you can. Again, making it personal. Why personal? Because I just think as a human being, like we all have, or we should have a major capacity for empathy. And so again, for me, I have a hard time. I'm the same. I scroll through a lot of stuff, but if I see someone that I know trying to say something, I slow down. I stop. I want to see what's up, right? Like, and so again, like it's that again, you're just amplifying the voice, and again, we're doing our best to control our narrative without giving anyone really any reason to say like.
So that I guess that's okay. So we've got the.
Is there just a question there? Is there to maybe make the impact of this stronger? Is there a certain person like maybe Don Iveson or Jason Kenney, some like big political figure that we should maybe all target to maybe affect more change more effectively? Do you see what I'm saying? To maybe have more of an impact along with trying to globally spread the message amongst all of our peers and colleagues and having these conversations?
Yeah, like absolutely. Like I think if leading up to it, anyone that's listens to us here or has seen it on Instagram, like it's one thing to reshare it, but it's another thing to take the 2 seconds to like DM it directly to one of these people. And like, I don't want to ramble on about it, but I mean, I showed you, like I've sent this to 80% of the pro hockey players, the politicians I know, and there has been some interest, but like
it doesn't hurt at the end of the day. Do it. Like if somebody responds, great. If they just go in with the expectation that no one will respond, right? And then just do whatever you feel like doing, basically, right?
We posted on the story and the feed, right? Or do we
wherever you want, any
Instagram, Twitter,
everywhere.
I'm gonna do my hair then.
Snapchat, whatever you got.
Okay, so yeah, we got this happening, and then I guess you touched on a lot of things there. The other thing was that obviously you believe, like we've spoken about this before, is like digital is the best way to kind of get that attention, especially when you're going up against these powerful opposition with like unlimited resources. Like, just you have to do whatever you can get the largest reach, and obviously online is now that medium where you can reach people all across the world because we're so connected, right? Is that I'm on the right track? Or
yeah, again, like you're seeing it. Like I think I can't remember if it's Saving Punjab, I think it's Sikh Expo that's been posting in their stories all the different rallies, right? Like, and we live in a time where we are all connected with the internet. Globalization has brought us all super close. So like, imagine the message it would send if like even 25% of the diaspora like did this. Maybe that's like a lofty goal, but like just imagine, like, again, it's just like the potential to amplify
is unlimited.
Like, is unlimited, right? Like it's just, but it's hard because like you have to be organized. I'm not that connected. I'm not that influential. Like, and that's where
you're the most organized man I know. Okay. So you got that going. So no, you're the right guy to kind of propel this thing. Obviously, you've done a lot of organization. You've done north of Lipsky, I think we're 4 or 5 years, right? You guys raised $500,000. You've done the Indo-Canada Cup, which without you, that thing doesn't happen. There's no way. We're just like, we don't know what we're doing. We're kind of just like, whatever Sonny tells us to do, we do, right? You've done like other things in the community. You've supported PBHL. You've sponsored PBHL teams from your work. Whatever you can do, you've done. So this is just another thing, which is like awesome to see that you're doing that, and you're not doing it for a selfish purpose. You're not doing it to make any money, and we all know you don't need to do this for that, right? And you're not that type of person anyways. So like, good for you for doing it. And anyone who else thinks otherwise, like, that guy's a fucking loser, or that girl's a fucking loser if they think that, right? So it doesn't even, like, fuck them. They're not doing anything. They're not contributing anything. Hopefully that's one of the people that has like fucking 100 acres and doesn't even realize it's getting taken away from them. Like, that's your fucking punishment. But anyways, so it's good that you're doing this, Sonny. And then, like I said, a few other issues that you touched on was like the one I was kind of like, whoa, maybe we have a slight disagreement on is just like the importance of the car rally. Not maybe the importance of it. I agree it's time to like innovate the way we create awareness, but I feel like that car rally was like something that had to be done because it caught your attention, right? And like, as far as being like that person who wrote that article, that person, I think it's a good thing we got that person to write that article, that outed that person. And then I think like you or Jyoti or somebody wrote to that person and got a response. We would have never known that person is that way that person is if this event didn't occur, right? Now we know. And there's like, with online now, everything is like, there's records of everything, digital, whatever you're putting out there, so this guy, he's kind of like, he's going to be held accountable going forward. Cause like anything about Sikh Twitter or Punjabi Twitter, man, those guys are like ruthless savages. You turn on anything, they just.
Who was this guy?
Sean Amato. It was, like, and I don't feel like, I feel bad for the guy. Cause like,
I don't,
he's like journalism in general. Like you're tiptoeing around. You want to be like, you want to say enough to get like people to read, but you don't want to say too much and piss people off. But at the end of the day, like the word we used is like, we said you lacked the courage to like be a leader with this story, right? Like you told one half of the tale and you cheapened the argument. So like Joe, I thought the car rally was hugely important. I still do. Mm-hmm. Like, and again, like in a perfect world, we go and we do this right now. But I just don't want anyone to be able to take anything away from it. And then the other thing, like,
before you go on, I know you. I want to basically, no matter what you do, somebody will. And like we had that conversation about someone saying something about whatever a shirt I was wearing or whatever, right? Like there's always somebody at every level, right? So no one's ever going to be happy. So you just kind of, obviously you don't want to, as long as you're not harming someone, you're not causing someone, like
someone's always going to have something negative.
Yeah,
for sure. It's on like my last thing on the rally, like you guys remember during Black Lives Matter, and again, I'm not the guy sitting here saying all lives matter. That's not what this is about. This happened, and it's a comparable because they use social media very effectively. They also had wide scale rallies. We all saw this, and you saw the right come out and say this COVID blah blah super spreaders. And I remember reading a tweet, and that's what I wish everyone would extend towards this. Like I remember seeing like people saying, "Can you believe the nerve of these people protesting during a pandemic?" Yeah, like again, you've cheapened the argument. Like, what if you said something like, "Can you imagine how bad the situation is that these people have to do this during the pandemic?" And so again, if there's a car rally that was the solution, I support in whatever way I can.
Yeah. So
you also sent that tweet right after the car rally. Am I correct on that?
Yeah. Well,
yeah.
Vinny, we'll get to that. Just give me a second. Just before we'll kind of move on from the rally here, but just to kind of before we move on, Sonny, have you tried to reach out to? You've reached out to the politicians. Have you tried to reach out to other people in the Punjabi community? I know Apna Hockey's a player when it comes to media relations. They've kind of become the leader. Have you reached out to them? Other media personalities who have a platform from our community, have you reached out to them? And if so, are people excited about this, or what's kind of been the response?
The first one you asked, I can say that I didn't reach out because, to be perfectly honest, I didn't think you would have to. I thought that this is a moment in time where, you see posts from them and other accounts for the same cause. And this is backed by, a hockey organization. To me, I was just and I'm on the outs just supporting the guys. I was just it shouldn't have to. But there wasn't anything. So I probably will. There's still a couple of days and see, feel out that and see what's happening and if they're going to do it. And yeah, I've reached out to other local people that have some degree of a platform, whether that's 1,000 followers, 5,000 followers. And most are, there's three answers. There's number one, most common answer is there's no answer, which is fine. Then number two, it's to the same degree, something to the degree that they're supporting in their own way, which is fine. And at the end of the day, if you're helping the cause and you're doing it, that's all you can ask. And then the third is excitement. How can we be involved, right? I will also say that I've had conversations with people in the community that are and I think sometimes in my mind that everyone is on the same page as me. And I think that because it makes sense to me that I write it down and you get it right away. And so that's also been learning, people are they have questions and they don't really understand it. And, I'm learning this on the fly too. And so it's just at the end of the day, I think people will do what they can. And yeah, I'll continue to reach out to, and not just from our community. Like I said earlier, I'll reach out to anyone.
Well,
just on that note, for the people who are sort of just doing their own thing, that's all great, but some of these initiatives, sort of this virtual rally, does rely on our community sort of coming together, and the voice is louder with more people involved. So for some of these initiatives, I totally agree that it's important to your own thing, but if you get the chance, it's good to jump on board and support these things in the community and look out for them.
Yeah, 100%. That's 100% right, Arjun. Yeah. So, okay. Well, yeah, no, we look forward to that. We're all going to be participating. We got our 6 shirts, so we're ready to go. But I guess we'll start with Arjun here, but I wanted to ask also, obviously, like I said, this is the predominant issue cover, that's day to day in our news right now anyways, are these protests. So we've what's always interesting is to hear how did somebody either were they already kind of aware of the events before, did they come into it after, and like how did they come into it? Like what led them to it? Was it like a parent, or was it just like news, whatever it was? So Arjun, we'll just start with you. Just let us know like how.
Yeah, like I mean, I guess I sort of got more into it as the march started and the protests really started. I didn't realize the laws were such a big deal when they first came into existence. I mean, it's sort of hard to stay in touch with all the news coming out of India all the time, especially with everything. But when people started talking about it, sort of like what we were talking about, and as the more awareness grew around the issue, my family members from back home started saying, yeah, like we have a lot of people from our farm who are starting to join the rally. Then later on, family members being like, okay, yeah, we're also starting to march, starting to write letters, including my Tayaji's family out of Haryana. Is actually, it's only natural, right? Like us sitting here, you just want to get more involved. You want to stay as informed as you can and try to make a difference, right? Like I don't think I've ever felt privileged to be living in Canada as much as I have, like sort of in this last little bit of time, where you think like, man, what would the difference be? Like what it could be very possible that I was still back in India or living in India, like my family didn't immigrate, right? And I would be just in the thick of this. Like this would be what my everyday life would consist of, not like going to work and doing all these things. So yeah, it sort of just hit close to home. And for me personally, it's just at this point about not letting our efforts and our voice sort of fizzle out and still trying to make a difference and stimulate conversation, like especially at work for myself and amongst colleagues who may not know what's going on back in India. That's been like the biggest thing for me. Like I'm not the most educated about this, but it gives me a chance to just like even shed a little bit of light or knowledge or have that conversation with people who may know nothing about what's happening in India, right? Like with like the history of our current leaders in India and all the politics involved and their past like actions and why like I fear for the protesters in India for like violence and things that may happen to them if our voices go quiet and if like the world sort of turns an eye away from the protests, what Modi can sort of do, right? So things like that in general.
Because I mean, that dude's capable of anything. So that's
anything.
Yeah. So no, that's pretty like crazy. And like, would you say would you say did you pay attention to issues in India and Punjab prior to this, like at all, or was it just like you heard it?
Oh, honestly, not really. Not outside of the IPL and cricket and some of these things that have like betting value, but no, like sort of with the politics and whatnot. But nothing really, man.
Yeah.
Not until it really hits close to home, to be honest.
Yeah.
So yeah, call it jumped on the bandwagon or what? But I guess this is a time for us to sort of all come together around something, right?
Yeah. So do you think you'll like keep your I know obviously it weans off. That's for everyone, naturally for everyone. You get busy with other things, like you know how it is, you get fatigue. But like, do you think going forward, like you'll want to kind of, I guess, learn more about like history, like Sikh history, history about your people? Like, you think you'll keep that going forward, like even if it's just better than what it was before, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. Like if not only for myself, but for future generations, right? Like I have my like tutti futti like Punjabi that I can speak. I can sort of read it thanks to my grandma who lived with me. But
nice.
Issues like this draws attention to like, okay, this actually does make up our identity, and it does regardless of where we're living and what our interests are and what our like political views we align with. Like our Punjabi heritage or Sikhi heritage and culture around all that like really matters. And if anything, this like helped like reassure me that, yeah, that is important in my life. So yeah, so wherever that comes up, hopefully in the future when I have some more time to like read up and study about our language, I want to go back and get more proficient in it and talking and communicating in Punjabi first of all, and sort of seeing where that takes me. Like that's probably going to be my first sort of tangible goal. And then, trying to generally keep an interest in what's happening back at home.
That's awesome.
Good. Yeah, because Arjun's a busy guy. Okay, he's studied to be a doctor. He saved me one time. Remember when I had to call you and I was like, "Yo, Arjun, I can't breathe. My asthma."
Oh, yeah.
I was in Calgary. I'm like, "How do I get a puffer? I have a flight to catch."
Yeah.
He's a lifesaver.
I'm like, what were you doing last night, Joe? He's like, I have no time to explain that at this moment.
Allergy season, bro.
I got a flight to catch. I can't breathe.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I guess, Sonny, coming to you, you have a very different background. Your mom is German. Obviously, your dad comes from Punjab, Sikh family. So how, like, you're like the last dude I would have thought, like, not now recently, but like I guess when we were younger, we played on the same hockey team, because like I don't think you had any real connection to to Punjab and whatnot. But like now you're like, fucking Usain Bolt leading the way.
The forefront.
So like what's your story? Arjun told his, like, how'd you kind of come to this?
Yeah, like real quick, you're right. Like when I was a kid, you're like I didn't associate with Punjabis. I played hockey. I hung out with predominantly white hockey players. My one Asian friend, Charles. Well, actually, he's your friend too. And then and we don't have to get into why. Like I grew up in a weird dynamic where, like, to a lot of like the Punjabis, I wasn't Punjabi, right? Like, and some were vocal in letting you know that, and then like to like a lot of my white friends, I wasn't white. Like, you get like, I mean, people weren't always malicious. Like, although we don't want to hang out at your house, it smells like curry. Like, but you have that stuff. So like you grow up kind of like trying to figure this all out, and but like we've had this conversation too, Joe. Like, it's interesting. Like, so much of this was like planted like Inception style into like the teachings of Sikhi, and like going to the Gurdwara as a kid, like, and washing dishes and like all these things, like watching these plaques show up at the house, like donation, thank you for the donation, and like all these things that are like being implanted that like years later I wanted to go back and revisit. Like, my dad didn't have the time to sit there and talk to me about it, or maybe, and sometimes I think maybe he didn't want to talk about it. Like, maybe they left for a reason. They don't want to talk about that. And I know that's definitely the case with my mom. So yeah, I like why I became loud here. 2020 is hard. There's a lot of time on your hands. Lots of bad shit happened in the year. And then, I felt like people were getting tired, and like, it's one after another. It seemed like every week something bad was happening. And I sat there and I'm just like, in almost every one of those incidents where there's bad shit going on, like, who was there, and like who was there to help, and who was there to offer support, and who, if nothing else, was there to feed you and like offer comfort was the Sikhs. And so I'm sitting there, and like, again, and in my one tweet, like, I can't remember really anyone that I know of like doing this and then wanting like a pat on the back, be on TV, like an accolade. Like, they do this because they believe that's what's right. Like, the whole belief system is based on we're all one. Like, we're from, like, there's one divine creator, and like your only job in life is to leave the world better than you came, right? So these guys, they do this, and like and it was making me so mad that like there was no coverage anywhere. The one time that they really could use someone to stand up for them the same way they would stand up for anyone, it's like, where's the conversation? So I remember sitting there being like, kind of bringing it up, and like I ran up on my dad. My dad like flat out ripped me a new one, and was like, I'll say it on here because you can listen or leave. He actually called me a chicken pussy, and like, so after I started laughing, because I've never been called this in my life, he like explained why he was like, he's like, and his point is right. Like, I'm half Punjabi, I'm half German, born in Canada, and I said that that's what I identify as Canadian. But it also, like, that situation allows me to have some of these conversations that sometimes you guys might not be able to have, right? Like, or have the conversations with some people that you might not, because like, if I start talking to like, I don't know, Tyrell Spitzer or like Dean Panis, they're gonna be like, oh, it's just Sonny. And then like,
Sonny,
if I start talking,
you saying they don't like us?
No, I'm not saying that, but like, and they're the names that come up with. I'm saying that like, it's an easier conversation for, and that was his point. And so as I'm starting to get, like, you guys also know, I'm married to a Canadian, Kayla. And so she'd ask me, she's like, why does this matter? So as I'm trying to figure this out, like, I'm trying to explain it to her, and I'm getting frustrated. So then I'm just trying to figure out how I can make it make sense. So that's all I was trying to do. And that's like, I kept comparing it to like Canadian situations. And like I said to her, I was like, could you imagine if, every farmer in Alberta walked from Edmonton to Canmore.
Yeah.
And do you imagine the media attention? Because that's roughly the same distance they walk, right? Like,
so is she pretty is Kayla caught up to speed with what's going on?
Yeah. Kayla's whole family now, like it's
nice.
and like, you know, they try and like they'll do whatever they can, and I'm sure they'll post during the stuff, but like so yeah, that's how I got into it. I was just trying to, you know, make it make sense to people that it otherwise probably wouldn't have made sense to. And then it just kind of like went crazy.
Yeah, that's pretty. Like you bring a completely different perspective, having the two different background, big German and Punjabi. So you know that's like, you know, if anyone's seeing this, like this would motivate you, right? Like just seeing Sonny wanting to learn, and like these things bothering you, and you say like these were ingrained into you when you were a child, and I'm sure by both parents, but like I just know the Sikhi or the Punjabi side of it, right? As far as how parenting goes, but like that is ingrained in you. And like whatever you're learning when you're a child, like you're learning by seeing their action, and you retain that in your subconscious. I know I don't know if this is true or not, but remember we had this conversation last time too. Like they say, this is kind of off the track here, but first 7 years of your life, like you can kind of, you're 90% pre-programmed, and that'll determine how you kind of behave in the rest of your life, right? And then you can change it over time, but it's a habit that's hard to break. But anyways, if you do get a chance, Bruce Lipton, he is a developmental biologist. Check it out. But it just going back to that, and then Sonny, you said like how they're there to stand for others. Sikhs are there for stand for others, and now you want, like, why is nobody standing up for us? And you see, right? Yeah. Black Lives Matter. You see, you know, images or videos of Sikhs in California speaking up. The Kashmiri Pandits in India, right, during the Mughal times, like our guru gave up his head, you know, for the Kashmir, for another faith. And then you had that just recently in India, what is it? I can't remember if it's a CAA, the bill they were trying to pass. So like Sikhs or Hindus in Afghanistan would get citizenship in India, but if you weren't, I don't know if CAA or CPP, but if the Muslims wouldn't. So if you're a Muslim refugee, you wouldn't. Okay, and so they had a lot of refugees in the eastern, I can't remember which states, but they didn't have no citizenship. They've lived there for like 50 years. Okay, and then they were going to be like kicked out, basically sent to Bangladesh or something. Yeah. So who stood up for this? Who even though it was better for us to take that legislation, you know, on a personal level, but they're like, no, this ain't right. This ain't right. When Kashmir issues, Sikhs always.
I was one of the guys that were on the other side. I was like, take the bill. But then, you know what? I learned, like, you're right, man. You got to stand up for the other religions, and knowing that what Muslims would have faced had that bill been passed.
That's just human, right? We're all human. If I see anything like happening, I'm hoping, you know, though I would come in, and then hopefully if somebody's coming after me, I hope, Sonny, you're gonna jump in and save me. but yeah,
T-shirt.
That was like, honestly too, and like if you like strip down the political ideology, take away the religion, take everything away, honestly, like, and if you don't see this, like, again, go back to, like, imagine like Nani, Bapuji, like 85, 90-year-old. If you don't see, you know, hundreds and hundreds of thousands of people barefoot in a like tractor walking that far for a protest, you know, enduring water cannons, police brutality, not even being allowed to to protest peacefully in a democracy. If that doesn't move you, again, I think I said this to you earlier, Joe. I said, I don't think that says more to me about you being a shitty human, just in general, than whatever you believe in. Like, as a human being, if you can watch that happen and like blind eye, like, you know, that speaks more to me about your moral character than you know, whatever you believe in. Like, as nobody should have to go through that, right? And yet they're doing it, like, you know, a lot of times smiling, like willing to do it for the future. And
like the drive, I think it's a 9-hour drive from Jalandhar to Delhi, I think it is. And these guys are walking.
Yeah, walking, biking, whatever. It's crazy what they're going through, but you know what's crazy is, like, now, just quickly, like, they I want to get to Superfan. I want to ask Arjun because he's Superfan, right? But like if you where they have the protest set up in Delhi now, right? Like they're saying, who's better off? The poor are being fed. The poor are being fed. They're being educated. Okay, they set up libraries. They're teaching. Okay, women are not afraid to walk through. Like Delhi's like the rape capital of the world, if or somewhere near there, like the top 5. But like women are in those areas, anyways. Are like, you know, we feel safe. Like nobody's like, this is beautiful. They've got like what? They've got massagers like Khalsa Aid. They've set up a Kisaan Mall, it's called, so you can go in and get like whatever you like. It's unbelievable the way people are working together, and they're kind of like it's pretty crazy. It's like it's the most unbelievable protest I've ever like witnessed. You see the protests out here, they got nothing. Like these guys have set up like infrastructure, right? And not like, and everyone's working together, so it's pretty dope. But now let's get to you know, news of the day. Okay. So we had basically everyone knows Superfan, Nav Bhatia, Raptors. You know, he's always in the forefront. He's a saying, I think he owns some dealerships, but he does pretty well for himself. So anyways, so today he was getting an award, they had the Global Indian Awards, and he's being honored with whatever you want to call it, Global Indian of the Year. Okay, and this event is being put on by, it's an Indian, it's called the Canada India Foundation, the CIF. Okay, so these guys are controversial. Some people, they're just like an extension of the BJP here in Canada. They're kind of, you know, they have funding from them. Their guys are BJP guys, but they've come out, they've denied the 1984 Sikh genocide, that this has existed. They've come out and supported, like, you know, perpetrators of 84. So given what's happening with the farmer protests, right? Like, and him going on, everyone else has given back their words. Ravi Singh from Khalsa gave back, like everyone from Punjab gave back, like athletes, any national award. They were like, even Badal, Prakash Singh Badal gave back. And that guy's like the worst, like, dude in the world, right? Like he gave his award back, right? Like, and now this guy has, I guess, apparently he accepted it. And in the opening, when they introduced him, the Indian ambassador said something about how the ordinances are for the betterment of the agriculture sector and the farmers. And anyway, so I don't know what happened with the acceptance and whatnot, but Arjun, just, you know, like I took a picture with the guy. I get excited when I see Superfan. Like, you know, he looks like us. He's there in the forefront. You know, he's a good mascot. But like, how do you feel? Like, what are your thoughts when he does something like this? Like, are you like indifferent or?
Yeah, no, that you can't be, right? Like, it's pretty shocking to hear something like that. Like, we all love the guy. Like, he's an NBA Hall of Fame fan. He attends every game, supports Canada's one team, has done a lot for like youth in and around the GTA, especially Punjabi youth. He like hosts this multicultural night that I just happened to be at this one Raptors game last year where they do like a full Bhangra thing. So he does promote our community, our culture through language, dance, charity, like crazy. Like there's a reason a lot of people. So when I heard this, like, yeah, it's shocking. So I came across it just that Ravi Singh from Khalsa Aid. I saw a video that he posted sort of pleading for Nav Bhatia to not accept this award. And I was like, oh, damn. I'm like, that's actually pretty powerful. Yeah. So this is the first time, like while you were talking there, I didn't really know what the CIF really stood for or what things they've supported or not supported in the past. But if it's openly known that they support those things, like, that is pretty shocking. Like Nav Bhatia is the last person you'd expect to do this, right? But yeah, I don't know. It's shocking. Like even if we take a step away from Nav Bhatia, just like the amount of powerful public figures in Bollywood, in culture, in like some family members to not be named who are like close. Regardless to political people, it's shocking that a lot of people in power haven't spoken up or brought more attention to this. I don't know what you guys think about that, even in general.
I mean,
Akshay Kumar and all these guys. Like, I was like, what the hell, man? Silent Fingers King.
I feel like
the Fingers King dance off with Snoop Dogg. And these guys are fucking rocking and everything, and now this guy can come out and give like 2 words of support.
He's put his like the dopey bugs they wear. He put it away in his closet.
Yeah.
I lost the keys. But Vin, you tell me. I feel like you're a big. I feel like you're a Bollywood guy.
I'll get into the Bollywood thing right after, but for Nav Bhatia, no one can defend him saying that he doesn't know what that organization stands for and what they did, because people were tweeting at him before saying, "Don't accept it because this is what they said." Right, so there's absolutely no excuses, because he had no other replies except people just.
I don't know who runs his account, or whoever does. I'm sure he's aware of what's happening. He's not an idiot. He's a smart man. He's made a lot of money, right? Like he's an intelligent dude. So.
Absolutely. And for Bollywood, you know who, like, okay, Akshay Kumar, yeah, he's a flake, right? He uses us in his movies, but down the road, if he ever makes another movie, he's not going to have our support, right? A lot of these actors won't. But the biggest disappointment for me is Sonny Deol and Bobby Deol and his dad, right? These guys think that like their political career after this is,
those guys don't have any connection. I mean, the good thing about this is your people's true colors are being exposed, and you're able to see who's who really gives a shit, who's a good person. People like you don't even expect, like coming out of nowhere and saying things, and you're like, whoa, like that's pretty.
Yeah. Like the Deep Sidhu, who I don't know if you guys know. So Deep Sidhu used to help. He's an actor, and he helped Sonny Deol run for the elections. He helped him pretty much win, right? And now Sonny Deol, a couple of months ago, Sonny Deol released a statement saying he alienated himself from Deep, saying, "Oh, I don't talk to him. He's just a guy." Even though they were buddies, they were good buddies.
Clearly.
You guys see Bhagwant Mann and that Sanjay Singh guy going ham in Parliament?
Yeah, that was awesome.
Oh shit, this wasn't planned. He's walked the other way past. This is a fucking reality TV show, man, sometimes with these guys.
Those guys are, man, they're the way they are in their, like, when they're in legislature or parliament, or like, I've been in the, what is it called? The Punjab assemblies. I've seen like a session between the Congress and the Akalis going back. Dude, these guys, it's literally like an Indian big drama show. That's exactly, that's like exactly what it is, man. These guys are going out of their acting, and then as soon as they're out into the lunchroom, they're all like, "Yo, like, opposition guy."
Right? Dude, that's why I hate politics. Like, I've always been a guy like Sir Kapana, like, it's just wasting my time. These guys are all fake. But then it actually impacts like life and has like so many implications. You're like, oh, bullshit, man. Like, it's so frustrating.
That's why you have to be involved. That's why you have to pay attention. But yeah, Sonny, I don't like. What are your thoughts on like Superfan?
Well, that's the problem. Like quickly on him, like, you know, I feel like he's just taking on this persona. Like, honestly, like he was kind of obscure up until 2-3 years ago, like, unless you actually went to the games. And then now, you know, he's in Tim Hortons commercials. He gets a ring. Like, he talks to all the players. They all know him. And like, I feel like it's like an ego thing. I don't know. I've never met the guy,
breathing mascot now.
For sure. And so for him, it's just like, you know, in his personal world, like, again, to what Arjun was saying, he at least puts into practice a lot of the teachings we all grew up knowing. Like, I know that he also did he started a food truck service for, like, I know, so he's doing a lot of these things, stuff. But like, you know, like, and it's, you guys were touching on it. Like, is he now, you know, gaming to what his next life as a politician or whatever it is like he tiptoeing around, not trying to ruffle feathers, and you know, people are like, and you know, it's human nature to want to like look out for your self-interest, but in a matter like this, again, like, and this is where you're from, like, it's surprising. And I was going to just say quickly, Joe, I mentioned this to you earlier, like, speaking of the celebrities, like, Joe's favorite, Priyanka, like, of all the people that came out and actually tweeted in solidarity with the farmers. And again, I don't think her colors have changed. I don't think her perception, like, we've all seen the interviews where she, like, she reveals herself. I don't think that's changed. But then, Joe had some interesting comments on that too, and she
I think, man, I don't even, like, I just ignore somebody like that because I don't even care, like, what they post, because that person, it's like Gurdasman coming to the border when people were just like, yo, you're not even getting the stage, bro. Like, you've been, and like I said, this guy's a legendary Punjabi singer. They were just like, you go against the calm, you're cut. Like yeah. Everyone's got, like, and you, like, who knows, they might be doing something weird, but like this, like, we're just coming back to someone with, like, a public profile who has that reach. Like, I mean, it's not religion, it's not any, it's just like, if you're a good human, you'll kind of you'll support, right? Like, it's just a human thing, and if that's happening with bad guy in my books, I'm now going to take that picture out of the frame on my wall.
Let's see. Let's give him some time. Like, maybe he'll come out with
yeah, you're right.
And then
Arjun's like, please, Superfan.
Bro, I bought this Nav Bhatia bobblehead. I think Sonny did too.
You know what? Disappointing.
And it's just like doing this this morning. I look at it, I'm like, yeah.
The one thing, like, with this though, and like, whatever celebrity, like, the problem is, like, you don't have to say anything that's going to, like, necessarily incriminate you. Like, you don't have to come out and say, like, if you're Gurdasman, you don't have to come out and say Modi is RSS, he's a fascist terrorist. You don't have to say that. You don't have to come out and say, like, this is like a move. Like, nobody's asking. If you come out and you state the facts that there's 3 ordinances passed in Congress during a closed session at the height of the pandemic with no opposition, and they're not being allowed to protest peacefully, what's so bad about that? Like, our Prime Minister, Trudeau, like him or don't like him, he tactically came out and he said, let them protest.
Yeah.
They
ran hate media on him in India.
But they're going to do that regardless.
I know, man.
Like, again, Joe referenced the conversation earlier. Like, he wore a shirt that was like a spark plug, and so my response to the guy was like, he could be wearing like a Gandhi shirt, or like he could have Modi, and like people are still gonna say like this is like about this, which is like it's not like
I would never wear, just to clarify, I would never wear a Gandhi shirt. Gandhi was a racist in South Africa, and he did weird shit like sleep with his grandkids to test his sexual desires. Yeah, naked with them. Like, he did, like, this is on record. So he's a weird dude. So no. But
you get my point.
I get your point. Yeah, like, it's just, and I just, for me, like, that comes down to like not having that information. And if you don't have the information, just don't comment, go learn, or just stay quiet. Like, don't say stuff without, no, yeah. But I mean, yeah,
knowing the background, knowing the most for me, the most disappointing thing about Nav is that he has NBA followers, players, like, they're following him, right? He has celebrities following him. If he could just reject it,
even Nav the rapper,
like, that would have a huge effect.
Like, he's posted stuff like.
Has Nav Bhatia accepted the award and given a speech?
Yeah, I don't know.
It'd be cool if during that he like comes out and renounces something. Maybe he does. I don't know. Let's see.
Vinny, look it up. Vinny, put yourself on mute. Check. Karla.
That would be great.
Where's Deep when you need him, eh?
Yeah, we need an on-site fact checker. But anyways, yeah, no. So everyone will get to your not to yours, but the Digital Kisaan rally next Wednesday, December 30th, 10 a.m. But just before we like continue, Arjun, you remember that doctor, or not the doctor, Bruce Lipton? I said so.
Yeah,
Arjun the doctor. I don't know if you if this is science or not, but just so his belief, he claims that his belief is that biological control over, or what is it? So your like your DNA or your biology, you can alter with your mind. So it's not inherited. You know what I mean? So like altering mean like over generations of like how we were saying, like inherent like things you're taught over and over, and that will affect your DNA. As opposed to something that's just directly in it. So it can be changed. Like you'll inherit it, but it can be changed with behavior.
Yeah.
Like I don't know.
That sort of makes sense, right? Like what we're taught is you essentially inherit all of your genetic makeup from your parents, and all the birth defects or congenital defects that happen. If you're missing some of that genetic makeup is because of that exactly. But yeah, over time that changes, right? Like so different illnesses can affect your DNA, and different like mental stress. We I don't think we know how, but yeah, like stress makes things worse. And like if you're in that age where you're developing, like you're talking about in kids, right? Like the first 7 years or so.
Okay, so this is what he claims. I just looked it up because I was like mumbling through it. But he claims that beliefs control human biology rather than DNA and inheritance. Okay, so one part of that is he thinks that in the first 7 years of your life, so through this, whatever you're taught. So he says one of his examples, he goes, why does a kid that grows up whose family has been wealthy for generations could be the biggest dumbass, but that guy will know how to retain wealth because that's been programmed into their mind over generations. Like he could be a complete idiot, but he'll know how to do that because that's the one thing, maybe they didn't teach him how to be a good person or whatever, but like he knows how to do that because that's been passed down generation to generation to generation. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I mean, I would have to read up on this guy more and we could chat about it maybe a later time. But yeah, like a lot of it's that whole nature versus nurture debate, right? In a different way, like people who are successful over generations like that, they're just in an environment to like the probability for them to succeed is just so high, right? With the sort of environment that they're in and the people that have sort of surrounded them and their system that they're born into. And so, like what you become and what you do in life, like depends hugely on the environment that you're sort of thrust into, right? Like and the opportunity that's available to you. And you could have the most pristine genetic makeup whatsoever. But at that moment, like if you're living, I don't know, if you're born into the slums somewhere and you just never have the opportunity to sort of get an education, rise out of it, you're forced to do physical labor. Like you might be the best at what you do there, but you may just never reach your full potential, in which case, you can argue that your environment means a lot, right? Yeah. But on the flip side, if your extreme genetic makeup at birth is enough for you to like come alive and be a baby and be given birth to, but you're born with all these defects and conditions, you're just essentially programmed to fail in a certain sense, right? At least physically or medically fail. Like
I don't think he says like
I think it's a complicated like interplay too. But Lipton, giving me more shit to read about, bro.
Bruce Lipton, check out his interview on. I don't know if any of you watched London Real. But it's pretty. That guy's got a lot of conspiracy theorists on there too. But like this Bruce Lipton, I did some more research on him. He seems pretty legit. I don't know how. Well, I just like it comes down to what you said, Arjun. Like the environment. I guess that's just another way of saying it. Like your environment can dictate how how many geniuses are walking around uneducated. We'll just never know. But
there's been studies done on like genetically identical twins, right? Like exact genetic makeup, and their outcomes have been statistically different in like different health factors and stuff. And they start off exactly the same household, presumably everything, but things just happen, right? Like that's an example. One may have a heart attack, one may live forever.
Yeah, you never know. Well, that's why we got our boy here, man. He look at him. He's lost what? How much? It's like 300 pounds, right, Sonny?
Well, I was gonna ask, like, how much did that advertising spot for Bruce Lipton cost? I might want to get a spot.
Oh yeah, It's priceless, bro. It's priceless. But yeah, no, but legit, you like you're just kind of going from that. Like you've lost what 60, 70 pounds roughly, right? I don't know exact 60, I think. Like
I lost. So I did a DEXA scan. Right when I came back from Maui, so March. So this thing like scans you. It's like this weird table. Yeah. So it was like I came back like March 7th. Started working out March 19th. So right before that, I did the scan. They tell you how much your bone mass is and what that weighs, muscle mass, fat mass, and water weight. And so from that point to the time I did a second one, I had lost 60 pounds of fat and put on like 11 pounds of muscle. So, and that's like in just under a year. So, yeah, worked my ass off, but, like COVID, that's the one positive outcome for me, at least, was time to do stuff that I should have been doing a long time ago. But yeah,
so
no, just
for keep the lights. In our previous podcast that we're not going to release because of technical issues, we had probably a good 30-minute talk on this subject right now about the COVID being good for going outside and having outdoor activities. And Sonny, you rode the bike a lot this summer, right?
Yeah, that was like the main thing. So like when I first would have met Joe, I biked a lot too. Like that's like mountain biking more than, and hockey were like my sports. So kind of went back to that. And it was funny, like so many people got into it. Like I went for Vinny, you got a bike too, I thought.
Like, that's actually an interesting story. All the bikes were sold out, and my mom was at Costco, and she was shopping for, I think, tissue and Kleenex, and this guy rolls out with 2 bikes that were returned out of the back, and my mom just goes up. She's like, "I'll take both those bikes."
His mom bought him training wheels.
Yeah.
Those bikes, they're sold out of the country, and I got the last 2, man.
Wait, so did they come with training wheels, or what? Do you have to modify them?
Of course, man. Of course they came with training wheels. No, they were awesome. They're good bikes, man.
No, it was like
nice.
I remember when we met up with Sonny, like that was dude. I've lived here for like my whole life, and I've never actually been on the River Valley trails. Like I go to like Horlag once every year. So I was like, this time, like Sonny's like, yo, him, and I got another buddy that's into biking. This guy sent me the bike to buy, so I went and got it. Luckily, I got it because I think like literally like 4 days later, that's when everything was sold out, and the only available bike was like cheapest, like a good quality one from where you sent me is like $2,500. So like you're threatening like, and I was like, yeah, I'm not really that big into biking, right? So, but I got a sick bike, and we met this guy, and I was like, damn, he's half the size. And like now he's like, damn, he's half the size of that. But like this guy's doing the Tour de France, Tour de Edmonton. I don't know what he's doing, but
the best is that app Strava. It's like I write a 10-minute bike ride, and then I get a like from Sonny. I'm like, fuck yeah, Sonny like.
No, honestly, like that app was like, it became like an addiction, because at first you like it like it's social media, really, like everyone follows everyone, but what it does is like you see how you're doing against yourself, but against everybody else. So like I see Joe sometimes like I did it a couple times by myself just so I could smash them. So like him and Vic and Joe, they'd all like have their little races in Twin Brooks, like who had the fastest time, and then I'd go and like just destroy them and like get like a top 10. But
I know Joe would be watching my rides, and so I'm like, I have to ride fast because I know this guy's gonna make the comment.
Every time I see Vin's, I'm just like, ooh, I don't care how fast he goes, like, ooh, that's it. And I know Vin's just like, fuck, Joe read it.
So like riding like, extra 10 minutes because
But Sonny, to be fair, you're in a Ferrari, okay?
I did offer the challenge. The what day was it when there was me, Joe, I think Deep, Jyoti, Arjun, Nawal, and I want to say Vic was there. And there, I do have a better bike. There's no doubt. But that same day, I said I would ride anyone's bike that was there, and I would beat any of the other ones that day. Like, and again, like it's, if fitness plays into it. Like Vic's a very fit guy. Arjun's a very fit guy. Jyoti, I don't know. He does a lot of chest press. Like, he's not pedaling with his hands. Like, and then and Joe's a fit guy. Like but at some point, like you know what, I've ridden over 5,000 kilometers.
We're gonna go next summer. We're gonna have that Horlac race. It's going down. Okay,
around the oval.
Yeah, the round oval race. It's gonna go down. But no, but it's just biking's fun. You've lost a shit ton of weight. Like you must feel like a fucking $1 million now, buddy. You gotta take this shirt off, no problem. I guess I didn't stop you before, but
I never stopped me before. No, I feel good. But yeah, just got it now. Just keep it going.
Crazy, man.
Not too hard though. You guys know Kayla; she's super healthy. I just follow what she's doing, and then keep riding the bike, man.
After this whole, like during this whole quarantine for the whole year, Sonny, we haven't talked for since hockey, I think, right? We haven't talked for a while, and then all of a sudden, I'm getting this forwarded WhatsApp message for Sonny's tweet. And it's just going around in all my groups. I'm like, holy shit, this is Sonny tweeted this, right? What was that tweet, Sonny?
Yeah, so this goes back like at the beginning of like when I first got involved like with the protests. So kind of backtracking a bit, but good question. And it was kind of a funny story for me. And like it was kind of like part of why I was like, oh shit, maybe my dad's right. Maybe I am being a fucking chicken pussy and should say something like so like, again, I was talking to Kayla, like trying to make this make sense. And like, you know, we you know, Canada, our geography, like Alberta, we're farm, like there's a lot of farming here, oil, gas. So I kept trying to use like Alberta and like what's happened here to explain, like to at least draw a comparison to over there. So I talked to her about like the FLQ crisis. So like, I don't know if you guys remember social like 10, 11, like, we had an actual terrorist organization in Canada. I think it was like the 60s. I think maybe an MP and maybe a diplomat were actually kidnapped, killed. And these guys were like the FLQ. They were fighting for Quebec liberation. So why is that relevant? Because Quebec is awesome. People from Quebec are awesome today. Like 99.999999% of them would never condone that type of behavior. So my first tweet, and I like shamefully, I'll admit, I tweeted from PEL because like I was kind of scared of like the backlash, and like so that's all I was saying. I was like, because to me this was a farming issue. I said, imagine I said that Quebec should be removed from Canada because they're all terrorists there. Like I said, could you imagine what Canadians would say about me saying that this whole group is terrorist? And so that's what I was trying to say. Like, yes, the movement exists, and yes, there's people that believe in like this is all true. But at the end of the day, anything that anyone is saying that's saying, oh, they're not farmers, they're terrorists, like they're just trying to twist the narrative, right? So that's what I was trying to explain to her. Like there was no difference. And then fast forward to the tweet that really blew up. I made it from my personal account, and I just like tried to keep it tight and said like, you know, what Sikhi, I guess, meant to me in like my very dumb down basic knowledge that like I was inceptioned as a child. And then again, like talked about how to me like the problem and why I'm mad is because from 9/11 when, you know, Sikhs like in 2001 they invited Muslims to come to Gurdwara because they were afraid of mosques. Like you know, during COVID, every city that there's Gurdwaras, they're finding ways to take longer to like communities that need it. Like there's just, you know, that you can't count, and you like, and nor is there a tally. There's no ledger. We're not doing this to keep score. It's just ingrained to who you are. And then, so I summed this all up and I said, but now, you know, so read all this shit. And before you ask me why it bothers me, read that. And if you don't think that like these guys that will do whatever for anyone deserve a hand, then that's a problem. And like I don't have a Twitter following. I have like less than 500 followers. And this thing blew up. Like Joe messaged me, and like I'm getting all these messages, and like I have less than 500 followers, and I think it was viewed like I wrote it down. It was like 80,000 times. Like so, it's like retweeted like close to 100 times. It was like liked like 180 times. But then and again, I don't know how that Twitter analytics works, but like I looked at that impressions engagements, and I was like, holy shit. And then I heard the stories after, like guys being like my cousin Puppin from Van forwarded it to me, and I started laughing, and I'm like, yeah, that's like because someone had cropped like slides? And I was like, yeah, those are my slides. So I like sent him my like note that I wrote on my iPad, like being like, here, like, and it's just like, holy shit, like, and yeah, like it was crazy, but
crazy.
again, it was.
I mean, that's why it's important to like do something, say something, because like there is that, especially online, there's that reach, there's that potential. Somebody will come across it, somebody will read something, somebody may be like, oh shit. So like you got maybe nobody reads it, but put it out there. Support.
Yeah, like Sonny saying he had what around 500 followers.
Yeah, like his went like viral. You know, like I think I get more than like Vinny. You're like the only one that likes my tweets, and Tommy. I literally get like the same 3 guys that like.
Tommy loves all the Joe stuff.
He likes everything. He's like my most loyal Twitter. He's part of my Twitter audience.
Only his internet connection was better, man. You know.
It was weird. I had like there was people from Australia, like the UK, like messaging, and I'm like, holy shit, like I don't even know what to say. Like I just, and then of course, and like to what we've said all along, then you also have these like whether they're bots or whatever it is, like responding, being like, this is like, why is there only Sikhs protesting? And it's like, well, actually there's not. Like if you like read anything, this is not just issue, but
you can, because you sent me that one, you can tell who the bots are, because you just look at and the Indian government's notorious for like having bots. They've got like Reliance or Facebook and Reliance are in they have a business relationship. Reliance, Ambani, and Modi are like this, so like there's like collusion.
During the podcast, I wanted to get into that, but I don't know if we have.
No, I mean, say whatever you want. Like I don't really care, but we can save it for, because that conversation can get like, it can go on forever. But I mean, this is like been a good convo, man, and we get to support Sonny's rally.
Not just my rally, it's our rally.
See, that's why Sonny's here, so he can correct my.
The graphic design is awesome.
Sonny just organizes so much stuff and like so many things that it's easier to just remember. This is not Sonny's initiatives, but no, it's nice. Let's get everyone on.
Yeah,
the shirts look awesome though.
You never know when your tweet or your DraftKings lineup or your Instagram picture is gonna hit and get popular. So if we're all there, we increase the likelihood, right?
We got to teach him how to say it like a Punjabi singer at the end of the. Speaking of Sidhu's new song, Fire, but like at the end of the video, they're always like, "Paji, comment, like, subscribe."
Sunny Chan with that.
December 30th, 10 a.m. It's a digital farmer protest, and what are the hashtags again?
Oh man, hang on, I gotta write them out.
All right,
just follow AZone.
Follow AZone Hockey. It's in collaboration with AZone Hockey. Hashtag
YEG Virtual Kisaan Rally, right?
Yeah, and YEG Digital Kisaan Rally. There's 2.
And then, and then go on that page, and then obviously hit the regular hashtags that are being used, and hopefully, I mean, we can get people involved, but just in general, the fact that you guys are part of this, organizing it, you and everyone else who's doing it, that's awesome. Your story is pretty like it's unique. So like hopefully like someone listens to it and they're like, I need to get off my ass and fucking do something here, right? And even like it's just hearing like Ghuman, how like you're involved. Everyone's got their own story. Well, like I think we had this in our last. I don't know if we spoke about whenever we spoke about, but it's like one thing that like connects us, right? Like it's that it goes back, and so and we know you're we've talked about it in like many like every podcast
every podcast.
But no, we'll keep having these, and then Sonny, come on again, like because this issue is not going to be it's not going away, and at least like 6 months to a year is my prediction, right?
And that's what
that's what they're
like. It's
so that's what they're prepared for. Ghuman, we got to get you back on. We got to talk. You got to go read up on Lipton, Bruce Lipton.
It's like homework they done. These guys, man. We'll talk about.
Arjun's a very interesting guy, man. He has a lot.
Vinny like you, man.
I wanted to say that, like, It's December. It's the last week of December. It's freaking cold. It's cold in India, man. It's not.
Yeah.
It's even though people go from here.
It's freezing. It's freezing.
Still cold.
Yeah.
Still
They're cold like hits the bones. But let's. I mean, this is gonna keep going, so we'll just keep updating. We're gonna have some more interesting people on. We're gonna get Jaskar and Sandhu he's a member of the WSO, and he's always on Twitter. He's like on top of like sick issues in Canada, so we'll get him on and hopefully get some more people, and then have you guys just keep like, at the end of the day, we just want to have these discussions, whether it's this or whatever is relevant at the time, and then we get to shoot the shit, hang out, and not get too rowdy like sometimes, but like last time that we had to can that pod.
Technical issues, personal issues.
A lot of issues, but yeah. So Paul, you can listen to us on Spotify. We'll have the video up on YouTube. Sonny, you need to get on deep. I want to say it so you can get him to get it done before Wednesday. But Spotify, YouTube, listen or leave. That's the name of the podcast. Thanks for coming out, boys, and doing this all over again. Say goodbyes if you want, or any last words you guys want to say.
See you all Wednesday.
Wednesday, 10 a.m.
See you. Thanks for having me, boys.
Love you guys.
Thanks, boys.
You're the coolest half Punjabi, half German guy I know, man.
Thanks.
All right,
ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਆ